welcome. I'm Christine, the owner and creator here behind Crafty Southern Home. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys, are y'all ready for fall? I am so getting ready for some cooler weather. It's been a hot, steamy one here in South Carolina. These are truly five for $5 or less. This is mostly Dollar Tree items, and I've seen all of these. Some of these I've had left over from last year, but I've seen them in my Dollar Trees locally for this fall as well. So they're just carryover items. The first one that I have here is a little acorn. I'm just going to deconstruct it. That paper peeled right off. Thank goodness. There was no trouble there. Then I'm going to paint it with this chalk paint the color maize. Now, if you did not have some fall colors on hand and you had to buy some acrylic paints from Dollar Tree, they have some fall colors and you could still make this for under $5. You average them out between the 5 projects. So this is truly $5 or less, y'all. Then I'm going to take these window clings after my paint dried, and I'm just going to pick out pumpkin, the little acorns, and happy fall. I'm not showing it, but I did have to come back and put those down with Mod Podge. They would not stay. I'm simply going to reuse the little burlap piece there since it fits perfectly at the top. I'm going to hot glue that down. And then that just yarn, that pretty gold fall color, I'm going to hot glue that around the edges. And then I'm coming back with that brown and hot gluing around the stem. And then, y'all, how easy is this project? Let me know what you think of the finish. Moving right along to number 2, I love these little mason jars. So I am going to deconstruct it, just put 1 coat of chalk paint on it, use this pretty pumpkin ribbon. That is from Dollar Tree. These napkins I think I got from Hobby Lobby. You can probably find something at your Dollar Tree or maybe Dollar General. Or if you buy some from Hobby Lobby, it's only going to be pennies for one. So I'm going to remove all that, and I flipped it over to the back, and I'm going to paint 1 coat of the chalk paint. I want this to look a bit more country. It just fits the little mason jar theme. So I'm painting around the edges and the front, and then we're going to use that napkin to decoupage. How beautiful are those pumpkins on that? So the way I do is take a little artist brush, dip it in some water, make a very organic edge to it. I don't want to cut it with scissors. I want it to just lay down into my piece. I don't want to have it like a format. So I want to, this is the easiest way, and then it just tears. Make sure when you tear, you're only going to pull apart that top 1 little piece of the napkin. Lots of napkins are 3 layers, some of them are 2, most of them are 2, but make sure you're only grabbing that top piece. And then I just kind of clean up the edges. Now I'm going to lay this down with my decoupage. This is Mod Podge that I'm using. Next time I do this, I'm going to use my little little heat press iron. It is new to me. You'll see me using it here coming up in a project. Because these napkins are so thin and they're just so delicate, I do tend to get a good bit of little wrinkles in it. I even use my brayer and I use my fingers. It's just hard to push that fine napkin down. But I did take it in sections. That helps a lot. I left those edges sticking out. You can see on the sides there. Now, you can certainly decoupage those down, but what I'm going to do is just come back with my little finger sander, and then I'm going to just take off the edges. So you do want to do a coat of the Mod Podge on top too. That's your sealer. Okay, so let it dry. Let it dry and then take your finger sander. And then I decided I kind of like the look, since this is a country look, kind of a country farmhouse. So I'm going over all my project with the finger sander, just getting out. It's going to rough up that napkin a little bit. I'm going to rough up the edges. I just like that look to bring back a little bit of that wood. I'm going to hot glue this little tin plate back to the top where it was. And then I am going to use that ribbon to make me a pretty bow. But now what I've decided with that ribbon was, just looking at it here, it's too thick. It just covered my project too much. So I'm going to take my scissors, simply cut it in half, or as much half as possible. Cut it in half, and then it just makes a double bow. And it's real pretty, y'all. These edges are wired, so you can turn them and fluff your bow good and get a good look out of it. I'm simply tying it with jute twine. I'm going to hot glue that down, and then I also am going to repurpose that little leaf. And I believe there was a little jute twine bow that came with this. I'm going to stick that in there too because it's so dang cute. Y'all let me know what you think of this one. This one is going to be finished. Alright, project number 3. This is a used little pumpkin I had in my stash, but they have them at Dollar Tree. I've removed the stem. These are those styrofoam. If you can't guess, I'm just going to make a floral arrangement here. These are so easy to use. For any kind of different little projects, they're just wonderful because they're that styrofoam. I am going to do 2 coats because the styrofoam just eats up your paint. And this is called Fired Clay from Folk Art. This is a beautiful muted orange terracotta color. But I thought it went so well with those oak leaves there. And I just really like this muted orange color. So 2 coats of that. And then I did decide to come in to add a little something extra just to zhuzh up my project. I'm going to use some cottage white from Folk Art and go in the little crevices there all around and just do some light little strokes in there. Now this is totally optional, but I think it just adds some dimension to it and some interest to it. So then when that dries, all I'm going to do is cut down my little florals, and I've got a pick of the oak leaves because they're that beautiful autumny changing color, and then I've got some of the wheat. I love the wheat. I use them for all different kind of projects, so I pick them up every year when I can find them at my local Dollar Trees. So I'm not even using all of the picks, so you've got some picks left over if you want to do another pumpkin. So you can do these really cheap. And I'm going to add those in there, and then I've had some leftover, I think this is called, oh gosh, is it deer? It's not deer moss. I can't even think what it's called, but it's the moss that you find at, it's not the Spanish moss, but it's the moss that you find at the Dollar Tree. Now, if you have Spanish moss on hand, you can certainly use that. It just makes a big mess. This moss is more of a true moss filling to me, and it stays together a little bit better, and in my opinion, it hot glues a little bit better. So I'm just going to simply make that edge look a little bit prettier where I stuck those florals in that hole, and then I have some cascading down, and then this is finished. But if you were throwing a party, a fall party, or even a Halloween party, how cute would these be just to decorate? It'd be cute to decorate your table in the centerpiece. You could expand on it and do all kind of different florals. But how stinking cute is this? You let me know what you think of this one. All right, next project. I feel like I'm going to get some mixed feelings on this, some mixed comments, but you guys hang in there with me. The last project is super adorable, so just stick with me. I like this one too. I wouldn't be doing it, but I feel like this is not going to be in everybody's likes because it is very country. Now, I'm very limited at my local Dollar Tree and what fabric they have, so I picked up a blue. They really didn't have anything that was autumn colored, so we're going very country here. So I picked up one of these little long signs. They have these year-round, and I am going to simply cover it with this burlap that I found. I love this. I will be using this for several different projects. So, and I had a good bit left over. So I'm just going to cut it down to where I have enough around the sides to have a good edge to pull and to hot glue it down. So I'm just going down all around the edges, pulling it taut, and then I'm just going to simply hot glue it, and that's going to keep that there. Now, when I'm through, I'm going to take that little blue checked ribbon, not ribbon, y'all, cloth, and I am going to cut it into little strips. I would say maybe about 1/2 inch wide. So I'm just going to cut a little piece, and then I'm just going to simply tear it. So I like that organic feeling. It leaves some strings coming out, and I kind of like that look because if you're going country, I think that suits more of that look instead of actually using a roller and cutting it. Now here you see I'm using my little mini heat press. You do want to iron both that burlap and this cloth because it's got, you see it's got some hard little edges in it. If you don't have a mini heat press, you can certainly use your iron, but I love this. I finally bought one, and I can tell you I'm going to be using it a lot. It's going to be used a good bit for decoupage too, and you'll see me in some upcoming projects I'm going to be using it, and we'll talk about that later. So I'm going to start a strip, and then I'm just going to rip it. And I cut off, I don't know, probably about 8-9 pieces. And then I'm going to kind of measure it so I have a good overhang to hot glue on the back of the board. I did 6, and I did some kind of even spacing to go up the bottom of the board. So my string is going to be up top. I'm just using that same jute twine to put back through those little holes, and then I'm going to take my strips and just cut them down if needed and hot glue them around the back of this board. Those little, I guess those are oak leaves, maybe they're maple leaves, I don't know. The burgundy, I don't know if you're ever going to be feeling this. They did have orange. I wasn't sure with the orange with the blue. I don't know. I really wish I could have found some fall cloth, but it wasn't available, so sometimes you got to go with what you can get. So I just pulled off the back. It's a little clamp, so I just pulled off the back, and then I'm just going to hot glue these down into the little strips. After I got through my project, that burgundy just stood out way too much for me, so I did come back and put a light coat of the white chalk paint on top of it, and I liked it a lot better. I'm just going to use some remaining of the scraps that I had ripped and make a very floppy bow because we do not have a wired edge. Obviously, this is all cloth. So that's why I say it is very country looking project. But I really think it's cute. You're going to have to let me know what you think. It's not going to be everybody's game, but that's just the crafting world, right? But let me know what you think about this one. Last project, and I hope you've hung in there with me because you're really going to like this one. I think it's my favorite. Let me know what you think. So I'm going to use this Halloween pumpkin, but I'm going to be using the reverse side of it. So here's an idea. When you get through with fall, you can always decorate the other side for your Halloween. There you go, just throwing that out there. I'm going to be using some of this vinyl from Dollar Tree, and that is in the buffalo black and white, and then some florals, and then this beautiful ribbon, some white chalk paint, and then I'm going to use a gel stain. So if you don't have any gel stains, you can always use some brown acrylic paint and water it down with some water, and that'll work well for you as well. That kind of makes you a little stain. So I'm just taking some painter's tape and marking out where I want my center to be. I didn't measure it, so this is just purely where I want it to be. And I did 2 coats of the white chalk paint. Now I'm going to take and remove it when it's dry, that painter's tape, and I want a nice crisp edge, so I'm going even with the top of that white chalk paint, okay? So that I can take my gel stain and paint the top. Then I'm going to do the same and put a crisp line using that, recycling that same 2 pieces of painter's tape, and then I'm going to mark out where I'm going to put my vinyl. And I thought I was going to mark this with a marker, but then I actually just kind of measured it roughly, cut it down, and then I removed the backing, took my time to line that up very well so that it is exactly at the bottom of that white paint. And then I'm just going to smooth that down and lay that out. And then this cut very easily with just plain scissors. I did come back with my finger sander to get nice crisp edge to it. And that took off that vinyl just perfect. You can see me working it here. Just working a downward motion, never towards you, in a downward motion. And you can get all of those little tight edges in there. So the little floral pick, I am just going to take apart, and I just did a thing of 3. Of course, I wanted to use the pumpkin. I tied those together with some wire. You can use some jute twine to tie them together, and then I'm just going to simply hot glue that near the top. Now, this ribbon, I was so impressed with this. This is a nice cloth feel. It is a wired edge on both edges, and the front and the back are the same. So there's no front and back. You know how you'll buy a ribbon and there's clearly a front side? Then if you tie your bows, sometimes you've got to figure out how to get the front side showing. This is the same, both sides. So this is a great ribbon. I just tied a nice bow with 2 little loops to it. And then I'm using a zip tie to secure it. You can use some jute twine certainly to tie it. I just wanted to tie it tight because this is a pretty bow, and I just wanted to make sure it wasn't going to move on me. I'm going to hot glue that down, dovetail the edges. Y'all, look how cute this is. Now, if you wanted to spend more than $5, you can embellish any of these projects how you want. But just remember, these are all truly $5 or less. I hope you enjoyed. Give me some thumbs up. Please give me some comments. If you're new here, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of ideas coming up. Thank you, you guys.